All right, welcome to the show, everybody. I'm your host, Angel Rivera. This is Angel in the Afternoon. Alongside with a few guests here today, we have Karen, of course. We have Dee, and we have Alex. So, welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming on. We'll be talking baseball and other stuff. So, welcome, everyone. Thanks for coming on. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah. So let's talk some baseball. Let's start. I'm not. We're really. I want. It's not Yankees or Red Sox, but as everybody knows, there's a scandal with Shohei Otani and his translator with gambling. So we'll just touch on that real quick, and then we'll move on.
Wonder what Ben Verlander thinks of that.
Yeah, I mean it's ridiculous. Allegedly, first Otani gave him the money to pay this gambler, this bookie or whatever, and then later it turns out, oh no, I didn't give him the money. You know, it was stolen from me, and they
Mm.
called the police and filed the police report on that stuff. I don't know what to believe. Initially, it seemed like, oh, okay, give him the money, whatever, and then it's like, oh no, I didn't give him the money. I swear, I didn't give him the money. It wasn't my fault. It was the translator. You know, he did it. So it's absurd. And yeah, let's. What do you guys think about that situation?
Um, I'm kind of where you are, but I also, like you said, I feel like I don't have enough information to really run my mouth, which for me is really saying something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Um, I'm kind of with you. It seems kind of, I don't know, ridiculous.
Yeah, I
yeah,
agree with Karen. I don't know a whole lot about it. I'm not really following it much. I just following other stuff. So I mean, yeah, it's crazy, but it's not really much I can say about it.
yeah.
I
It's
mean,
far too.
basically, yeah,
Go ahead.
Angel basically saying what everybody's saying. It's like, oh, it started with this story with Otani. Is like, yeah, I helped them, and then the next thing it flipped. Like, no, I had nothing to. Otani had nothing to do with that. I think the interpreter was the one that was saying that Otani had nothing to do with it, or something to that effect.
Yeah, yeah. So that's why I'm kind of, you know, it's far too soon to do anything with that. And I think I might have crashed here, so I'm not sure you guys can hear me or see me
I,
or
No,
not. But
yeah,
I
we can
can
hear you,
hear
but
you,
yeah,
but you're not moving.
it's not working.
I'm
Now
about
Oh,
you're
you're
now.
not working.
you're
Okay.
back.
Okay. I crashed there for a second. I noticed this. I didn't see anything, so it's like
Yeah.
I wonder if they can hear me or see me. But okay, looks like we're good.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't think that it's far too soon, and I mean, it's just it's far too soon. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, let thing. I hope there's some kind of investigation to that. I don't want to see that. Oh no, I mean we're just gonna leave it alone because here's the thing. Even if Otani did do it, they're not gonna ban him like they banned Pete Rose. He's one of the biggest stars in the game, or the biggest star in the game.
Yeah.
Are they really gonna ban this guy for life over something that or
I
something that
I
he
would be
allegedly did?
shocked if that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, if he wasn't gambling on baseball games, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, what was he gambling on?
his translator was gambling on either was it games or I don't
Oh,
know the exact details, but he was definitely gambling because he owed like $4.5 million.
Ooh.
Yeah, so
I wonder to who. I wonder if it's the United States or Japan or something.
yeah,
Yeah,
he
like, do
owed.
we know, was he gambling on American baseball or
Right,
Japanese baseball?
because he's not
That's
a
those
good looking
details.
either.
No, I'm
Those
not
de-
saying it's a good look. I just
yeah,
Yeah,
wanted to
Well,
know.
if it was from the MLB, my guess would be American. Because if it was Japanese, I could be wrong, but I don't know if MLB would would care about much if it was if it was betting on Japanese baseball. So
Or I'm wondering if it's just the optics of it. You know what I mean? Like I don't, but I don't know. I don't know enough about it to.
Yeah, it's too soon, but I just wanted to touch on it since it's like the big breaking story out there. You
Yeah.
know that Otani, turns out that his translator, excuse me, he gambled millions of dollars away, and Otani ended up paying for his bills. So his gambling bill. So it's definitely something strange there. So just wanted to touch on it real quick. I mean, it's far too soon, but chances are no one's gonna get like suspended over this, or because they already fired the translator, so he's gone from the Dodgers. But yeah, I mean he's gone. There's the police report's been filed already because Otani's trying to backpedal from this. Like, oh, I didn't pay him. I didn't help pay his debt. Somebody, he stole my money or something. So we don't know what to believe. You can bet on AEW and WWE now. Yeah, yeah, that's legal, and that's that's true. And
it just makes
I
me
don't.
feel
Go
a
ahead.
little bit better that Aaron Judge won the MVP over him in 2022. I know I guess it's a little different what I'm talking about, but just if Otani won, but at least Judge won that year.
Oh yeah, Judge would have first it was back in his rookie year when Altuve took the MVP from him, and
Oh man,
the Astros cheated,
yeah,
throughout the year. So now this time it'd be a gambler. It was not really. It depends. I mean, if the interpreter is betting on Otani's games, then that's a big problem. And that's what Pete
Yeah,
Rose got suspended though.
right, like that's my question, because that's why I asked, like, what exactly was he betting on? And also, like, I don't know how it works, but if Otani was just paying, like, if he helped pay a debt but wasn't actually doing the gambling, does it still count as him? Is it like gambling by proxy? Like, I don't
Yeah. We got a Cubs
understand if
fan
that's the
here in the
same
chat.
thing.
We got a Cubs fan in the chat. We got, welcome, thank you. Make sure you like it if you haven't already. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether I know Pete Rose got suspended or got banned for life for gambling, and
Mm-hmm.
if Otani did anything near what Pete Rose did, Major League Baseball's in a tough spot because
yeah,
they're gonna have to ban him for life
yeah.
if they find anything on even remotely what Pete Rose did.
yeah, I mean that's my thing, and then I guess it's too early. I mean everybody's just in the shadow. I think they have
Yeah,
the commission in baseball, Manfred. He was like, yeah,
yeah,
really didn't say much, but because it's too early.
yeah.
Me personally, I think it's a little bit deeper than that. Maybe, probably it might go from the days of Japan. I don't know. I'm just saying something just gonna go deeper.
Michael K on the radio spreading rumors that New York radio here, that Otani was gambling for years and he's an addict and stuff, and he kept going
Right.
about it on the show. I'm like, yeah, that's far too soon, Michael. I get, I get what you're
Yeah,
getting at, but
did he back that up with anything?
no, he's just speculating.
I
I
remember 2017. Michael K said, he heard from a friend or source that Judge was going to win 2017 MVP over Altuve, but then
Yeah, I
that
remember
didn't
that
happen.
one.
I was like, and my reaction was he lost all credibility when he said that. Of
Yeah, he
course,
had a source
now,
allegedly.
of course, looking back now, Judge should have won after what happened with the Astros, but
Well,
still,
that's probably his out. Like, oh well, he would have won if it wasn't for Altuve's cheating, So if you
Yeah,
were to confront him on that,
yeah. Michael K sometimes sounds a little bit like TMZ. Hold on, I
yeah,
got some
yeah,
news for you.
if
Inside
you
sources.
if you're in the New York market, like me and Diaz, we know we know Michael K, and he does the Yankee games too. So
yeah.
but yeah, his radio show I think I'm not sure if it's all over the country or not because I know he's on ESPN radio. So
I haven't heard him. That doesn't mean he's not all over the country. I haven't heard him.
yeah, I don't know
I
whether
think,
he's in
I
every
think it's
major
just,
market.
I think it's just New York hears
Right.
Yeah. But
of course you can see the videos on YouTube.
yeah,
And
on the S Network. Yeah, I forgot the S Network.
Mhm.
He's on the show's simulcast on there too.
yeah,
So he's all over the country basically. If you have the S Network, you can listen or watch his show.
yeah.
I don't
But
know
yeah,
if I do. Like, I have ESPN, and then I have, Nesson, which is basically the Yes Network, but for the Sox.
Yeah, with the
Because
Red
we have
Sox.
yeah.
Nesson. I don't know if I don't think I have the Yes Network.
Yeah, whoever
Was
has
the
it.
WEEI or that
WEEI, yeah. Mm-hmm.
what's that
Okay.
other Red Sox radio besides WEEI? I don't remember what it's
Um,
called. 98.7. I think, or does the 98.7 the I forgot the you don't know you haven't heard of it, Karen? Or
Um,
I mean if you just type in Boston Sports 98.7, there is
Hang
a
on one second. Let me try to look
And
it up.
then my
I
thing is,
usually end up going to WEEI, so one second.
and what is it? Michael K. He's been the Yankee radio broadcast for a while.
yeah. I
he
think he
used
started
to.
doing Yankees games on TV since 2002, I believe. Or
When
actually, when that was when Yes Network started, I think.
Yeah, so
Right.
he started doing the games when the Yes
I think he's
Network
done
launched.
commentary before, but I think
He
2002 is when
he
Yes started.
before that he was on the radio with John Sterling. He did the games with him,
Yep.
and I used to him and John Sterling were like they were the main radio broadcasts before he went. Michael Kay went to TV and Susan Waldman replaced him, and ever
Actually,
since
Karen,
he
I think I'm wrong. I don't think it's 98%. I think it might be 98.5.
Yeah,
98.5 is
it's
Sports
90.
Hub.
It's
That's,
the Sports Hub.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So yeah, it's far too soon for the Itani thing. I don't really want to spend too much time on it. So yeah, where do we start? The Yankees or the Red Sox?
Well, so
Because
first, I just want to also mention
oh, go ahead.
the Dodgers pitcher Miyamoto or Miyamoto.
Yamamoto, yeah, he was
He didn't
awful.
have a good first outing.
But that was the excuse is well he pitched in South Korea and that's a long flight, so
It's like
he
so.
was yeah. I mean he's a professional, he should you should that's not an excuse, but he wasn't good. What did he
Yeah,
do an inning and gave up 5 runs and 7 hits?
I believe the
So
Padres won 15-11. I believe that was the score.
uh, he's awful. I mean no. I
Well,
mean,
no, he's not.
let me
He had a bad
backpedal.
first start, but let's see
No,
how
he
he
had a
goes.
bad. Yeah, he had a
Yeah,
bad first start.
yeah,
I don't know why I said he's awful,
yeah.
but
That
that
is,
was an awful start. Yeah, I meant to.
yeah,
Like, let me backtrack. He was bad, but doesn't mean he's bad.
yeah.
It just means he had a bad first start in the majors. So it's too soon to call him a bust. But the
Right.
Dodgers paid a lot of money, so hopefully, and don't get me wrong, I wanted him on the Yankees too. I mean, if
Yeah.
he would have been on here, if he'd been
The Yankees did
here,
everything they could to get him. It's just he just chose
he
to not.
wanted to be with Otani and
This
his
is how
buddy. So
this is how it
and
goes.
he didn't have a first good start. And imagine here in New York if he had that bad start,
Oh,
New York radio
oh,
would melt
New York
down.
would have just they would have been all over him. They would have
Yeah,
gone
it's like, oh, bust. I mean, we can't believe the Yankees got him and all this shit. Like, and part of
I
me is
mean,
like,
and that's definitely one thing that both of these teams have in common is I feel like both of these cities are very, very difficult places to play
oh yeah,
because the sports media and the fans are pretty savage.
hmm
And to me, it takes a very certain kind of player. I think if you look at teams like just the fan culture, the temperament of like the Cardinals or something, and
yeah,
then you look at like the Yankees or the Red Sox, we're talking about two very different
Yeah.
animals. And to just assume that a player, and they get, they get traded, they get moved around, they don't a lot of times have a say. But I do think
hmm
like we never really think about that it's like just the mental adjustment from going somewhere like St. Louis or just somewhere like much more laid back to like Sox or Yankees. Holy hell. I mean, that may not
hmm
be something that's gonna work
it,
well for your psyche.
I mean, even
it,
as a Yankee fan myself, even I have to admit that the Cardinals have the best fan base in baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
hmm I
Like,
agree with that.
yeah,
yeah. I mean, there are times that, you know, I absolutely I love the Sox fans. I love the Sox culture. And then there's other
Yeah.
times where I'm like, you motherfuckers,
Yeah.
like, you're psychotic. You're literally insane.
Mhm.
You need help. You need deep, deep psychoanalysis.
Yeah.
You're not okay.
Like when that
Yeah.
wasn't it one of the Sox fans who made racist comments towards Adam Jones or something like that back in 2017?
Yes.
Oh, and Torrey Hunter, I
Wow.
believe.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
And I remember Torrey Hunter might have said something like that. But
yeah.
the funny thing is, like when and I go back to what you said about like New York, LA. I'm a Yankee fan as well.
Yeah.
Is that when we get a baseball player, when they're gonna be free agent, the one question I tend to ask, can they fit in this market? The
Mhm.
pressure that comes.
That's what I'm.
Remember, what was it, Angel? If you remember, I mean, we could go on and on how many baseball players. I remember the kid.
Bus. Hmm.
Yeah, in the 1990s, Danny Tartable playing
Oh
Kansas
God.
City.
Yeah.
Great play in Kansas City. Then he gets the 5 or 6 million in 1992 or
A lot of money.
91 was a lot of money.
He's one of the highest paid players on the team, and at the
Mhm.
time, and he completely bombed here. Jack McDowell, remember him? He
Yes.
completely bombed here. I mean, it was like
Did
he's
the
the
middle
one that gave
finger.
the finger. Yeah,
Yeah.
he did this, the Yankee finger, after he got taken out.
And also that Japanese pitcher who pitched in the late 90s. I don't remember. Hideki Arabu. I think it's
Hideki
Oh yeah.
Arabu. Yeah, he was here too. He was okay. I mean, I don't think he straight up was a total bust here.
Well, I mean,
But
But he
unfortunately,
wasn't.
yeah. Well, let me tell you something. I think it wasn't him that unfortunately took his life because of the
Yeah.
stress and the pressure. And he was
yeah,
another guy that had gambling and drinking problems, if I'm not mistaken.
I think
I'm not-
he had drinking problems. I'm not. I don't think I heard anything about the
Right.
gambling, but I knew
on the
he had.
Yankees, yeah, I mean, this pressure of being a Yankee might have been too much,
Mhm.
Yeah.
but he took the money. I think Yankees offered the most money, and he's like, okay, sure. And then Indy is in the chat. Boston sucks. So sorry about that, Karen. I mean, but yeah, I mean, so let's start with the Yankees since we're discussing the Yankees. The big move in the offseason, Yankees have gotten Juan Soto.
Mhm.
So I don't not worried about him. He'll fit in. He'll
I'm
fit
not
in
either.
here. I mean, he'll
I'm
be.
concerned whether the Yankees are gonna sign him either after the season or during the season.
That's my concern. I mean, I'm
Did
not
they
worried. He'll
only
fit
give
in
him a
here.
year?
Huh?
Huh?
What contract did they give him?
No, the Yankees
Nothing.
didn't get. No, he was already.
Nothing.
He already had a contract with
Yeah, with Washington.
the Padres. He was
Yeah.
traded to the Yankees, and the Yankees
Right.
traded some players back to
Yeah.
the
Oh, that's
Padres.
right. Yes.
He's
okay.
expiring at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So
It's a free agent.
So
that's-
whether or not they'll re-sign him.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's my main.
Yeah.
I
concern.
think they should.
Oh, they have.
Give him the money. Well, I know we have to see how he performs, but just give him the money. Just like when we were saying, pay the man to Aaron Judge, pay him. Pay Soto as well.
The Yankees decided not to pay Judge, and it cost him an extra $100 million because he probably would have taken 260 before the season.
Well, don't forget they offered him contract before the 2022 season was 7 years, 213 million, and he rejected that.
Yeah.
But then he got the contract he wanted next offseason.
He might have taken less if he didn't have the season he did. Before free agency.
The one thing that annoyed me about Judge though was during the 2022 All-Star game Dodgers, he had an interview. He was saying, it's not about the money, it's about who you want to play for, whatever. And I responded to saying, so why did you reject the contract extension before this? Why did you do that then, Aaron? Because it's about the money.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's just virtue signaling, I mean, I don't like it when players do that.
Yeah, I mean, you could just say, you could have just said, I love being with the Yankees. I hope I can be back, stay with them. You can say that, but don't lie.
Yeah, that's just a straight up virtue signal lie. But yeah, Soto's here. He'll be fine. I mean, I'm not worried about him. And he's protecting Judge in the order. I mean, Judge. That'll make Judge better.
Soto's
That'll make
bat second, and Judge's going to bat third.
That'll make Stanton better. Stanton's having a good spring, which is
did
surprising.
you see the DMs about Stanton? He hit those 3 home runs against. Yeah,
he was that day.
That was a great sign.
Yeah, I'm hoping that with the extra protection with Soto, that'll make Stanton better too. and
And
he'll
I think
have
that was a
announced.
good pickup. I mean, I was actually kind of rooting for Soto to get instead of Otani.
Yeah,
My thing with Soto, you got to keep in mind.
Yeah, I knew the Yankees weren't going to get Otani.
Yeah,
I knew
no,
right.
that.
he
And
didn't
then you
want
got
to
to
be
keep
here.
in mind with Soto, he won a championship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
my thing, like, I don't think like he felt the pressure to come in and win a
Oh no,
championship.
He's one of my favorite players. After the
Oh,
2019
absolutely.
season, he became one of my favorite
With the
players.
little shuffle,
that
Yeah.
kid won a championship at 19 and
right?
led his team to the championship. It wasn't
Hmm.
like he was just a player there. No, he was
He
their
had a home
best
run off
player.
of Verlander.
Right.
Yeah. At 19, the kid's still a teenager. He can't even drink legally, and he's leading a team to a championship. So ever since then, as I was, he got to come here to New York. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
and he did in a trade. I mean,
Oh yeah, and they
with
also the day before they traded for Verdugo.
yes, that's
Yes.
from the Red Sox. I'm like, what? They did
Mm.
business with Boston?
Yeah, well,
What?
you don't want to hear it.
What?
Well, I look, I hope you guys treat him well. I love Verdugo. I know. Look, um he's not a superstar player. He's not a Hall of Fame player, but very few are.
Yeah.
That's a rarity.
He's
But
solid.
he is a very good, solid, reliable player. And in Boston, I mean, I know he won't get to do this with the Yankees, but he had his he's very boisterous. He always had his chains, and he had his swagger, and
Yeah.
you
I did
guys
hear
will
that
shave and
from.
wear a suit, but like whatevs.
I did hear though, like I think during the Red Sox, like sometimes he wouldn't hustle or give it all 100% or something.
It
Was that?
I mean, I again,
But to
know.
me, as
I
long
don't
as
know.
he still performs with the Yankees, as long as he does what he does,
He got benched a few times throughout the year. So it
Yeah,
was like,
something
Yeah,
like that.
because I think what happened, at least what the consensus seemed to be, was that sometimes him and Cora could do this a little bit. I'm sure that's common with players and coaches and managers and whatever. But yeah, I don't think that Verdugo, just from like his personality and everything, like he's not a docile player. He's not gonna be 100% the most agreeable player all the time, but he is a good player.
Yeah.
He always seemed like the other guys really liked him. He was like a fixture player. Like he was, he gave the team some character. And I love
Yeah.
players like that. You
Mhm.
know,
yeah, I agree. I mean, those players, like the Yankees need a player like that. We
It just
thought
makes that
Donaldson.
Mookie Betts trade look worse and
Yeah,
worse.
yeah.
Oh
oh
yeah,
my God.
Well, was it
It-
him and
I
Mookie?
was.
He had a little riff.
It was
Sorry, what?
no Mookie. The Red Sox didn't want to pay
Verdugo?
Mookie. That's all it
Yeah.
was.
That was exactly it. They're like, don't, and I don't know, look, now that we don't have Chaim Bloom, which I'm happy about, because Chaim and I had a very tumultuous relationship. He was just totally unaware of it. But we had relationship issues. So I don't know, and now I don't know if you saw it, and he came back in a different role, but they brought back Theo Epstein.
Oh yeah.
It's like a little, all right.
I don't know how
well,
that's gonna work.
I forget
So-
the title
so who's
that
the
they gave
GM?
him.
Well, I think Craig Breslow now runs.
He-
Yeah.
He
So they
replaced-
brought in
Craig
Craig
Breslow replaced
Breslow,
Chaim.
and they said they were going full throttle. Obviously, we're going to be a totally different team, but they do nothing.
No,
Right.
they did
So
nothing.
why did you get rid of Chaim Bloom?
No, in fact, so they just announced their starting rotation, which I'm certainly not gonna rag on it necessarily, but like it's literally like the rotation from last season. So I'm just like, wait a second,
They signed Lucas
I don't-
Giolito, and now he's out for the season.
Oh
With,
yeah, that's a disaster.
Shoulder
that
speed
poor
breather.
kid. I know.
That's a disaster. That was their one big like.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
we
was
got
their
Lucas
big
Giolito.
signing.
We'll be
And
a big.
even when they signed him, I thought it was hilarious because of how terrible he's been the last 2 years. I mean, look at his ERA, and now he's not going to be even pitch.
His elbow.
Well, my theory is that I think that I'm not going to call it a new curse, but I do think we're going to now always have this sort of Achilles heel of like, we're always going to have one pitcher that's just terminally unhealthy because we had Chris Sale,
Yeah.
right? Who, when he was great, I mean, holy hell, he's great.
He
But
pitched
there
the
was
Red
always
Sox.
some injury. There was always something, and now he's gone, but apparently doing well.
He's been good in Atlanta.
Or
he's in Atlanta. Yeah,
he's
doing
with the
pretty
Braves.
Yeah.
No, I knew he was with the Braves, but I'm saying he actually is doing well. He's pitching.
As far as I know,
Yeah, I mean he's not back to 2016, 2017 form, but he's solid. You know,
back to 2016.
You know,
with him, as long as he's like healthy, I guess that's and he's gonna put some work.
Excuse me, the Braves are just looking for that extra starter. You know,
You bring in Lucas, right, and immediately injured and out for the season. I just feel like we're always now going to have this little thing that's like you're never going to have a fully healthy.
What's going to happen is their starting rotation is now looking so weak that their starters are not going to be able to pitch far in the innings. Then they're going to have to use up their bullpen, and then their bullpen's going to be used up.
And it's just going to be a bad start.
Yeah,
and look,
I know.
I'll trash the Yankees rotation. I mean, it's just trash. It's trash and question marks.
Right. Well, I mean, now that Garrett Cole is out for I'm worried.
Without Garrett Cole, that rotation is just.
But with Garrett Cole and Marcus Stroman and Cortez, and I don't know if I say trash. I mean, yeah, it's not the best, but I mean, it could be good.
Maybe it's a lot of question marks. Though. That's what I'm saying.
But we've seen how improved Carlos Rodon has been so far in spring training.
If he's still healthy.
Yeah.
If he stays healthy and pitches like this,
yes.
it won't be as bad as I'm saying it is right
now.
But
I do want to say about Chris Sale that ever since he had the injury in 2018, not the first injury, but then the second injury, like right after he came back, after he got injured again, that's when he wasn't the same anymore. That's just when
totally.
There was that infamous game in Yankee Stadium where he gave up like 8 or 9 runs to the Yankees. It was like a couple of years ago that happened.
Well, no, a couple of years ago, he made his second start returning. He already gave up runs in the first inning, but then Aaron Hicks hit that line drive off his, his pinky or something.
Yeah, I think he broke his pinky or something. It was like the guy.
And then later on during the season, he got injured again when he fell off his bike or something.
God.
That's the thing is like he started to just get injured in kind of like spectacular fashion.
Right.
Like it was not even baseball related. It's like he fell off his bike. What are we doing?
Yeah.
But I think when it comes to pitching and just looking more at baseball as a whole, I think baseball as a whole has a massive pitching crisis right now.
Oh yeah.
You look
Tommy.
Overall, like
everybody has Tommy John's.
It's like there's injuries, but it's also just kind of becoming this like it's like a lost art. And to me, and I will say right now, I don't know, this may be a very controversial position that I'm just gonna stand by it, but I think some of what we're seeing, maybe a lot of what we're seeing when it comes to pitching is I think there was a big fallout from the spider attack ban, because I think what happened was you had a lot of young guys who were coming up, who went through training from the minors to the very minors all the way up, using this stuff because it was normal. It was not considered like a bad thing, a taboo, a cheat, nothing like that. So they learned with this, they trained with this, and then suddenly you ban it and go, okay, just you can't have it anymore, and you just expect everyone to be like, oh yeah, that's no problem.
Isn't that what happened with Garrett Richards when he was with the Red Sox?
Garrett Richards had it really, really bad because he could not figure out how to make the adjustments, and I think we are seeing that in a lot of pitchers. And then the ones that either never used it or who could adjust much more quickly, those pitchers are at a premium, and if they're on a team, they're not going anywhere. And if they do go somewhere, you're going to have to pay through the nose because it's just at a premium. You cannot get a good pitcher.
Everybody thought that the pitcher would be affected the most would be Garrett Cole because
No.
Garrett Cole was
And maybe
famous
it
for
did,
the side attack,
maybe it did take an effect, but he eventually did adjust.
and he
Yeah.
won a Cy Young. Yeah, he
Cy
won a
Young
Cy
last
Young
year.
last season, so
Yeah.
he doesn't miss it that much in the
Yeah.
side
But that's
attack.
the thing is, like, and with him, I think that the Red Sox, probably gave up on him too quickly when he was trying to adjust. And I remember watching him, and he would go out and he would get destroyed. I mean, just destroyed. And then they would pan to him in the dugout, and he would just, like, you could see he was extremely distraught. And he'd have his hand in a bucket of ice, and he'd had his head in his hands. Like, it was weighing, because there's no pitcher, there's no player on any team that, is like, oh, I don't care if I go out there and suck. Of course they do.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And that's interesting because I was about to go back and say something that never in my life for the last 5-6 years I've seen pitchers get like psychologically emotional. It used to be batters, and then once in a while you get the pitchers. But I've seen pitchers these days. You remember Chris Sale had a meltdown. I remember throwing the cooler, going back.
They bug out.
Right. And it's like, wow. I mean, it is true what you're saying. When you condition players to do something and then you take it away, it's like, okay. And then now every game you have to go and pitch. Oh, I gotta, check, I gotta check this, I gotta do that. And that kind of process.
The
Yeah.
umpires are
Not
checking
mention-
everything.
I don't know how everyone else on this screen feels, but I'm just going to say the pitch clock is demonic. I do not like this thing. I am very, very, very hostile to the pitch clock.
I wouldn't say yours is controversial because there are a lot of
Yeah,
Right.
there's a lot of.
And I thought
baseball
at
fans
first
that
I would
feel
hate it, but I guess I've kind of used to it. I don't.
they're lowering it this season.
And
I
it
know.
has improved
Yeah.
the pacing. That's what MLB wanted. It has done that. So
But let me give you my argument for why I don't like it. And you don't have to change your mind, of course, but I just want you to understand where I'm coming from.
All
The
right.
reason I don't like it is because I think that it devalues the mental aspect of the game. One of the things that a pitcher relies on is being able to mess with the hitter's timing and take their time. There is a mental battle going on between a pitcher and a hitter. It is not just the physical. And when you put in this very sort of inhuman, manufactured, sterilized element, you cripple that. You take it away. You're disrupting the artistry of the game. So that's really my thing. And also the fact that, like, they go in like, well, these games they're getting way too long, and this is so it's dragging on and on. One, we have like no attention span as a society anymore. God, you're telling me you can't pay attention to a baseball game? For fuck's sake, this is supposed to be pleasurable and lovely and like, they're like, hurry up because I can't enjoy this for too long. I mean, I don't want baseball to become more like football because they're two very different games. And between the pitch clock and the replays and the challenge and I'm like, we're kind of dismantling this beautiful pastoral game.
That's what's unique about baseball. They don't have, a time or
A
Right.
clock. Yeah.
clock.
Right.
Yeah. It's like you can score as many runs as you can score 100 runs. Games will take 5. I understand people might not like that, but that's the beauty of baseball. It's just
But
it depends.
the issue with the pitch clock is they're lowering the clock this season, so they want the pitches to go even faster than what they do right now.
What I will say is that I think they should increase the time of the pitch clock, make it either 20, 25, or 30 seconds.
Right.
I think they should do.
Yeah, instead of what is it now? 15?
15, yeah.
15 seconds, and you
I
have
know
to be
it-
ready by 8 or something.
And it's interesting because there was an article when this happened that because of the games being faster, teams made less money in the concession stands,
Yeah.
or something to that effect. So it's the pros and cons.
It's less money in the concessions. It's less
Right,
money in advertising because the games aren't as
right.
long. Like Yes Network's lost money. The Red Sox network, because the games are shorter. So ESPN, so it's like, oh well, we weren't expecting that. It's like, how do you not expect that? I mean, the games are like what, 15 minutes slower than they were in years
Oh yeah,
past.
and one thing I hate now is that I remember 2022 when games were starting to appear on Apple TV. At least for 2022, they were free. You could still go to the website and you could still watch it for free. Now
Yes, you
you
can't do
have,
that anymore.
yeah,
Right.
now you have
Yeah,
to pay
subscribe.
for it, and it's
Yeah,
just
pay
like,
for Apple TV, which is
come
Yeah.
on.
okay. Oh, great. Then let's. In order to watch baseball, you have to have cable. In order to watch on your local regional sports network, you have to have Apple TV. You have to have Peacock because some of the games are on 11 a.m.
Yeah,
on
exactly.
Peacock.
On Sunday
Yeah,
afternoon,
Sunday
Exclusive,
mornings. Yeah,
exclusive.
just like they did
I
the NFL recently with
yeah.
the
You
Chiefs
have
and
to have for the Yankees. You have to have Amazon Prime because some of the
yeah.
games are on Prime too.
Well, even when I'm when using MLB TV, even when it's on Amazon Prime, I can still watch the games on there.
Yeah,
So yeah,
So if you're in the New York market, you have to have Amazon Prime.
right.
So you have that's like five different things. Got to pay for cable and all those
But even I already
services.
have an Amazon Prime account, so I'm good in
Yeah.
that.
So I'm like, yeah, instead of making it easier to watch baseball, the MLB's making it harder.
And one thing
You know
that
what? All of that, and then all of the new rules, which, by the way, the players voted they didn't want them, but that didn't matter.
Hmm.
But all of that, it's just what I call the bureaucratizing of baseball.
Mm-hmm.
It's the bureaucratizing of America's pastime. That's what they're doing.
And the one thing I really hate what happened before last season is that I used to have MLB Network. I have YouTube TV. I used to have MLB Network, but then YouTube TV got rid of MLB Network, and that really pissed me off. And that made me want to think about maybe not using YouTube TV anymore. Maybe I don't know, go to DirecTV or whatever. But eventually, I'm still.
If you're cutting the cord, it's tough because some don't have MLB Network, some don't have the Network.
I've loved MLB Network ever since it started.
Yeah.
I've had it since 2000, since it started back in 2009. I've loved using it, and now all I can do is just watch clips of it online, and
I'm not sure who's at fault for that, whether it's MLB Network or
I don't think it was
YouTube
MLB
TV.
Network's decision. I think that was YouTube TV's decision.
That's not, I don't know who's at fault for that, but
Yeah.
that's ridiculous.
I
It's
was like,
gone
are
now.
you fucking kidding me?
Because I thought about getting YouTube TV myself, but they don't have the Yes Network. They don't have MLB Network now either. So it's like, what do I do? I want to cut the cord, but I don't know where to go in order to get everything
because that's
I
the
need.
crazy thing about these network and about some of these teams that they might have certain rights with, like cable companies, which would pay them extra.
Mhm.
Or so that means I remember when I used to long time ago when the Yes Network came out, I used to work for a cable company. They didn't have the Yes Network for the first year, so everybody started jumping on DirecTV. So I'm in the Bronx, so there was only one cable company that you could have here. And we're talking about like the early 2000s. So then everybody started jumping on DirecTV. I think that they might have lost about 200,000 subscriber at the first year. But I guess whether it's the team, whether it's the network, whether it's this, but that's why I said that baseball, it's weird when it comes to the rating that they, instead of just centralize everything to one, like the NFL does in a way, they all spanning everywhere, and that's why the ratings are kind of low.
The NFL is national. I mean,
Right.
Because they're on local, they're on television. They're on basic, not even basic cable, antenna. You can just
Right.
put up an antenna and just watch the NFL. So that's why the NFL is national. Like here in New Jersey, you'll have Raiders fans, or you'll have LA Rams fans, or you have Dallas Cowboys fans. So because it's national, the game. Baseball's not national. Baseball's
Right,
like
it's
local
regional.
markets
Yeah.
and. If you grew up in New York, you're either a Mets fan or a Yankee fan. You grew up in New Jersey, either a Mets fan, Yankee fan, or a Phillies fan. In my area, a lot of Phillies fans.
And that's my thing. And that wasn't the case growing up.
No.
Baseball was, you know what I mean? But it just
was a
changed.
national game, yeah.
Right. Once football took over in the mid 90s, whatever, baseball just kind of changed its tone.
They went to cable. They went
Right.
because they couldn't compete with the NFL. So it's like we
Mm.
gotta go to cable. And
Mm.
then now the regional sports networks are all dying. You heard Bally Sports is going down. Mhm.
Yeah, I think I heard about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So a lot
and,
of
I'm also a NASCAR fan, and there's gonna start streaming races next year.
because the regional sports
And,
networks are dying.
yeah,
Bally Sports, especially owned by Sinclair, they're going down.
yeah,
I mean, that's why the Pirates and the Diamondbacks, a lot of teams are scrambling and they try to air these games because Bally is going down. Every
yeah.
year, I see in my
It
cable
should have
bill.
stayed at how it was before with Fox Sports, the regional Fox Sports channels.
I think Fox Sports sold to Sinclair, which is why I turned to Bally Sports.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it was much
Yeah.
better back then.
Yeah, I get it. But yeah, I mean the regional sports networks are dying. So we
Yeah.
have except for the Yes Network and I
Yeah,
mean
Yes Network
they're
is still
fine, but
really popular.
but most of the regional sports networks are dying. So
Mhm.
they're like panicking trying to how are we going to air our games? Major League Baseball, I think they're saying don't worry, we'll broadcast your games. So it's not a big deal, but
Oh,
yeah,
by the
it's
way,
a
you have to
problem.
make sure you pay up if you want to watch them.
Yeah, you're going to have to go to MLB TV or something in order to watch your team.
or,
but-
or Apple.
Well,
TV.
yeah, that's the thing because, like, generally speaking, during the season, like, I can, majority of the time expect like, oh, the game tonight, like, oh, it'll be on Nessun, and then every once in a while I go to put the game on and I'm like, what am I like, where are the like, what's happening? And it's like, oh yeah, so no, tonight it's on Apple TV. Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
fuck you. I don't
It's
have
like
Apple
they-
TV. Like, what?
I don't know what the deal is, whether Apple picks the games or Major League Baseball just just gives them the certain
I think it
games
was-
throughout the year.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure they would love to have Yankees and Red Sox at least a few times a year, Apple TV. So you
Yeah.
force
Oh
to pay
yeah,
for it.
right,
Right.
exactly.
Take that away from ESPN.
Yeah. Oh,
Well, I
ESPN's
feel
an,
like, yeah, because sometimes, like Sunday night baseball, if it was Sox and Yankees, would go to ESPN,
oh, that always went
Right.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
That always go to prime time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, ESPN, I remember,
Or
so they had the
Fox or
Sunday,
something.
right? They had the Sunday, I believe they had the Wednesday or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, there was more national games on the ESPN, but like you said, you don't get that a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of these,
ESPN is dying too, slowly,
Yeah.
but it's dying because they built that entire network around Stephen A. Smith. He's everywhere. That he's the only one that's only real star they have left.
yeah,
So that-
talk.
And then they even had him on MMA broadcast, UFC broadcast.
Right.
It's ridiculous. He doesn't know anything about that.
He did the boxing too a couple of
He
times.
did boxing. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
like,
he was like,
they had him on
You did make
everywhere.
a funny rant recently about Joe Biden and the fried chicken thing.
Oh,
Well, I think that was on his own network, or he's doing.
Yeah,
his
that's
own
on his
network.
radio show, I think. But
Yeah,
he's all over ESPN. I mean, it's.
right.
But I digress. That's not. But
He was even on a show on ABC called General Hospital.
he's all over that
The,
ABC owned
the
network.
Disney,
so-
yeah.
yeah,
He needs
And
to
I'm
make a
like-
Disney Plus cameo.
yeah.
Avengers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I digress from that. But he's all. I mean, ESPN's dying too because the regional and my Comcast bill, which I hate Comcast by the way, but my bill is a regional sports network fee. Right now, it's like $12 a month. It used to be $6 just a couple of years ago, and it's going to go up. I suspect it'll be by 20 by the end of the year, because the regional sports networks are charging more and more money for the cable companies to carry them. So imagine if Comcast said, "Oh no, we're not carrying the Yes Network anymore." Yankee fans around here would just melt down
Yeah.
and they'll
Right.
go away. So which is why they have to pay it. Then the regional sports networks like Yes know that, because a few years ago we didn't have the Yes Network for like 3 years because Comcast just wouldn't pay the exorbitant cost. And the excuse that they gave to us, like, "Oh well, we're passing the savings to you because we don't have to pay for the Yes Network anymore."
It's the
So,
same thing
and I
that
didn't
took-
see those savings. The bill is exactly the same, but
Right.
that's what they claimed. Oh, we're passing the savings on to you. And the Yes Network did a campaign to, please call Comcast and demand the Yes Network back. It worked. Eventually, they came to a deal, but it was a couple of years. So it's like, yeah. So
Yeah, that was one of my worst years working in the cable company because I'm a Yankee fan, and you basically are telling people or customers to say, "It's the Yankees for? It's the Yankees for?" And I'm like,
Hmm.
I mean, it could be both sides. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Oh, what?
both sides were probably unreasonable in that Comcast Yes
Right.
Network debate conflict, but I mean that Comcast actually stood their ground. It's like, no, we're not gonna pay your exorbitant fees. Now they're back. So and then when they first came back, you had to buy the more expensive package that Comcast had in order to get the S
Oh well,
network,
that's here too, and
which is
actually
another problem. Which
where we are, there's actually and it's a rare thing, but we actually have in the area of the state that we're in, there's a regional cable company. So we're not Comcast, we're not DirecTV, we're
Mhm.
not, they're their own regional thing. So we have them, and but even within that, and they're much better than all of those big conglomerates, but even within them, they have different packages. And if you want Nesson, you better go up to tier 3 because you're not getting Nesson unless you're
Oh yeah, didn't Nesson not too long ago announce some sort of subscription deal or whatever a year or so ago, or
there. Yeah, well, so I don't have
like
that, so
like
I can't really
Nesson
speak
Plus
to
or something
exactly
like that?
what it is. But there is a way to have Nesson if you don't otherwise have like Comcast or DirecTV, because I think you can get it. I don't
I think it's the same as the Yes Network. I believe now you could get it by
I
itself.
yeah, I was gonna bring that
yeah, like
up.
you get it as its own thing.
Subscription.
It's called My Yes Network or something. It's $199 for an
I think
entire year.
Nesson, they have something equivalent to that, but like I said, I don't have that. I just have it through cable, so I don't know.
Yeah,
But
if
I think there is something like that.
I do want to cut the cord, which is why I was looking at that. It's like, oh wow, 100. It's either $20 a month or $199 for the whole year. So I'm like, oh, well, I mean, as long as I get most of the Yankee games, because I'm not going to get Apple TV. I mean, and not or Prime or anything like that. So I'm like, as long as I can get most of the games, I'll be fine with it. But
Well,
yeah, I
It's
that's the
so
mean,
reason why I
crazy, right?
cut the
Because
cord.
yeah,
you figure, like, if you're gonna pay like $20 a month or like $200 a year, whatever, it's like you should expect to get all of the games. Like, this is not an
yeah.
unreasonable thing. And now we're like, well, get most of them, and that's okay. Like, not really.
I think the Yes Network has 135 games throughout the year, so it's like a great majority of them. But some of them are on ESPN, some of them on Prime, some of them are on
Fox.
Apple TV,
Yeah.
Fox. So they get 130 games a year on Yes. So it's a great majority of the games. But
Angel, so Comcast. So back then,
Mhm.
wasn't Comcast the merge with Time Warner at that time?
uh,
I I don't think so.
no, I don't think Comcast ever merged with Time Warner. Time Warner merged with Turner at one point, Turner Broadcasting, unless I'm confusing it.
Yeah, because I'm only thinking that
There have been so many mergers that
right.
today Turner Broadcasting is what Warner
Well, Time
Brothers
Warner's
Discovery.
now Spectrum. That's what they are.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, they changed their name, but now Turner Broadcasting is Warner Brothers Discovery. There've been so many
Right.
mergers that I've lost
Because
track.
I was thinking that like maybe they were probably doing one of those because the what is it, Turner, they had the Atlanta Braves and TNT
Yeah,
TBS. So they were like,
Turner
don't watch the Yankees, go watch the Braves.
Ted Turner, I mean, had on the Superstation TBS,
Right, I
so
Mhm.
remember.
he bought the Braves in order to
Oh
have
yeah, I forgot
content.
to mention some Yankee games. I guess would be on TBS as well. I think.
Oh yeah, because of
Yes.
the playoffs and stuff, and he
Well,
occasionally even
I
regular
think even at
season.
times during the regular season. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they would
yeah,
air some
regular
games.
season.
Yeah. So yeah, they had Turner had the Braves, and not to talk about wrestling, but they had WCW too because needed content, for his superstation. But what was I going with that? I don't know, but okay. Well, so yeah, so we just got off track with that conversation, but that's
Yeah.
fine. It was
No,
interesting
that's fine.
conversation.
Yeah, I was looking at
It's not related. That's all baseball
it is
related.
Yeah.
baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, I was
So,
looking at this place where they had, the predictions of where the AL East would be, and a lot of people got the Yankees number 2, Baltimore number 1, Red Sox last place. Wow.
I honestly
I
think
saw
I don't
I
know
saw a
who's going to win
prediction.
the AL East. I honestly think it'll be between the Yankees, the Orioles, and the Rays. Because every time when you think the Rays, they might go downwards, but no, they keep
No, that's the
showing up.
baby
the
Yankees.
Rays.
And-
The Rays are no matter what, no
Yeah,
matter
Baby
how
Yankees.
bad, no matter how bad the ownership wants a team to be, they're never bad
yeah.
No.
And
because ownership never does anything. It's like,
and
oh
I
no,
didn't mention the Blue Jays
no.
on purpose
Oh,
because the Blue Jays keep disappointing every time. Oh,
Oh
they're
yeah,
gonna have to do big, and then they end up disappointing.
they're a
pitching,
massive
pitching.
disappointment.
It comes down to pitching.
Just
Mhm.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He said, last year was the trailer, this year is the movie or something like that. We're still waiting for that movie.
Does
And
anyone remember when the Rays, though, like back in like 2002, 3, and 4, when they were being managed by Lou Piniella, and it was just a bunch of like rookie, scared, shitless guys who were trying really hard, and Lou Piniella always looked like he was just gonna have a heart attack, like, and he would like you would just see
It's
this
like that with the Cubs too.
rage.
Well, the issue with, the Rays when they hired Pinella, he was the star of the team. I
Well,
mean,
back
when
then
they
they were the Devil
Believe me,
Rays.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I thought that
Rays.
was so entertaining. Like
Yeah,
watching Lou
mhm.
Piniella in the dugout with these like guys that were just 20 years old and were like, I'm trying. I don't.
Yeah.
Lou Piniella is in some ways the worst, but maybe the best manager a young player can have.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
Lou Piniella
And
doesn't give a
didn't
fuck
Lou
how you
Piniella
feel.
also have some appearances on Yes Network, if I'm correct?
yeah, he works like 20 or 30 games, like
Yeah.
maybe with the Yankees, so
Yeah.
he's occasionally there. It's not like he's a
Yeah.
regular, but yeah,
He's
he's
a very
occasionally.
entertaining man.
Yeah,
And what's
I mean,
interesting with Tampa
And
Bay
then-
is like Tampa Bay, they kind of remind me because Tampa Bay came down with the who they came with. No, was it the Marlins? Expansion, was it the Marlins or Colorado?
that was
No, I think they were
92.
always the Tampa Bay Rays. I think
It was only a little bit after, and they
That was a
remind
little
me
bit
of
after, yeah.
yeah, and they remind me kind of like in hockey, kind of like what the Anaheim, the San Jose's, where they're not necessarily like Tampa Bay's not necessarily a baseball town, like those cities is not hockey, but they managed to at least be somewhat competitive in the last 10, 15 years.
Mhm.
And I always call them the baby Yankees because I think that their pay was low.
Yeah.
And I think that when the Yankees or any team that pays the tax, luxury tax, goes to the bottom team,
It goes to Tampa because,
right?
but yeah, I mean, I'm gonna get into a Brian Cashman rant, but I can't stand the way
Uh-oh.
how he's the GM. He's trying to be the Tampa Bay Rays. Like he's always getting these guys who are
Right.
reclamation projects and trying to turn them into something. Occasionally it works,
Well,
but most of
a
the
lot
time
of them
it's
have
just a
worked.
failure.
Let's be fair about that. They have
What?
worked. A lot of
Well-
them have worked. Let's be fair about that.
I mean, to win World Series, I guess it's different though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sick of the playoff failures, and we didn't make
Right.
the
I am
playoffs
too,
last
yeah.
year. We were battling the Red Sox for last place, so it
Yeah.
wasn't even like
That was such a race to the bottom.
Yeah.
yeah, it was ridiculous. And I seen some predictions for this season that the Yankees and Red Sox will battle for last place again. Like, I mean,
I
there's
don't
some
know.
experts
I
saying
mean,
I
that.
think the Yankees will do better at least. They should do better.
I'm assuming that, the Sox are probably going to come in last. And I'll just say like I'm okay with that because that's the for better or worse part of being a fan. Like every team they are in a thing right now, whether they're rebuilding or just like I don't know.
What are they
But
doing? Yeah, that's
I
what I
don't know what they're doing. I wish I could tell you I don't know.
Yeah.
But you don't stop being a fan. Like
Yeah.
I can
yeah,
know
I'm
they're
always
going to
gonna
be
be a
last
Yankees
place
fan
going
no
in, and
matter
I'm
what.
still going to be so excited every time they win a game.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I think that the other thing that gets skewed within this division in particular is this is a very, very difficult division.
Mhm.
Even the last
Mhm.
place team in the AL
There
East,
could be a good
and
team.
I'm not just
Yeah.
saying that because it's going to be the Sox, is a very competitive team in like any other division, because the AL East is like its own stores. It's like its own hell. I mean, that's an incredibly competitive division. That's
I
the most
remember
competitive.
2022 was very competitive with the AL East. I mean, obviously the
Yeah.
Yankees were doing really good.
Yeah, somewhere in the mid. Yeah,
You know, the Rays were there, the Jays were there. Even the Orioles were winning more games. You know, even the
Right.
Red Sox at times were catching up. You know, or you know, maybe they were starting to make some noise
The
during the
ish
2022
Boss.
season.
I don't know what Boston's doing. It's like, oh no, we're not in a rebuild. We're not. We're just standing pat, hoping. Like, I don't know if they want to tell their fans, oh, we're in a rebuild now. I mean, I'm sure
I
most
would
Red
not be
Sox fans would
surprised
accept it.
if there are fans that go out to protest, maybe outside of Fenway Park.
Okay, but see, here's the thing, like, and this is where I will come down a little bit on the fans, because there's like such a lack of not only historical memory, but like any kind of appreciation. Because here's the thing, like, the worst thing about the Sox winning in 04, once the orgasm, the collective orgasm was over, the problem is that for a lot of the fans, and maybe this is just human nature, I'm like, this to me is insane. Immediately there's like whispers of like, oh, now we got to reclaim the dynasty. Shut up. You just won after 86 years. I'm
What
still high off of 04. Can we please calm
the
down? Like,
dynasty?
I
Like,
don't
yeah.
understand. I don't understand how we go from we haven't won in 86 years. Generations have come and gone.
mhm.
You know, people's grandparents have died. Oh, I just wanted to see my grandfather. Like, yeah, watch him, like, see the Sox. All these beautiful sentiments, right? And then the minute they give you that in the most spectacular fashion you could ever, that was like, you could not have scripted that
Mhm.
division series better for the Sox. It's like, okay, well, now suddenly you all just expect to win every year. To me, this is insane.
Mhm.
I think that like this expectation that, well, now they have to be in it every single year. Why? You're not entitled to that. And Yankee fans, I gotta say the same thing to you all. Like, there is this
No.
element of like, you are entitled to the playoffs. You are entitled to the. No, you're not, and
90.
we're not either.
The
But like, come on.
the last time Yankees finished in last place, I was what, 6 years old. I mean, they're talking about
I don't even
92.
remember when they finished.
So,
When was the last time they had a losing record?
again,
No,
early 90s, I think.
yeah, it
Last
was
time the
early
losing
90s.
record.
Yeah, it was
So
Yeah.
like
this is
90,
what I'm
91.
saying. It's like, go talk to the Pittsburgh Pirate fans, okay? Go tell them your woes and see how they react.
And Pittsburgh, what? Pittsburgh got like the third most World Series or something like that behind St. Louis or something.
Exactly.
The 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 Pirates have quite a few, not recently, but the last
No,
one was at 78 or
Yeah,
79
back
last time
yeah,
they
in
but
the
won.
70s or when
they had,
they
I
were
think they
popular.
had,
Mm.
I think the
What was the
Dodgers.
team that had the We the Family, We Are Family?
Oh, that
thing
did
going?
78.
Oh, that
Yeah.
was
I mean, I
Like,
think
I'm not trying to rag on the Pirates. I'm just trying
Oh
to
no,
give
no.
an example of like both of these two fan bases. We're pretty damn lucky. Even if neither team won again in the next, like, 10, 20 years, we are pretty damn lucky. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
this whole like, well, we need to win this year. We need to be in the division. We need to win no.
Yep.
It's really great when they're competitive,
Well,
but the
I
Sox got
do.
spoiled,
Yeah,
man. I'm sorry.
I do have to say the Yankees will have to win this year. They got Soto. They're ready to. They should be ready to win, but
As long as there's
that,
not too many injuries.
that's always the problem every year with the Yankees. It's way
Yes.
too many injuries, or guys are underperforming, or.
Yeah.
But yeah, you brought up 2004, Ken, and I had faces. I mean, that
Oh,
hurts to this
I'm
day.
sorry. Did
No, no, no,
I didn't mean to.
no, that hurts to this day. So 20 years ago this year, and
I got over it. I got over it.
yeah, but it's three. It
You
was.
lie.
And to this day, I'm like, I saw Gary Sheffield recently complaining about 2004 still. I mean, he didn't be on podcast blaming Joe Torre and blaming everybody for
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Yankees'
Blaming.
failures.
See,
And I'm
look,
like, look. I'm sorry. Look, Gary Sheffield. I mean, I've come games 4 to 7. He was like 1 for 20. If
And
anybody's at fault, it's
A-Rod
him.
was amazing to start the series too, and then he struggled.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was like 1 for 18 from games 4 to 7 after. So it's like, if it's anybody's fault, it's yours. I mean,
I
you.
did read an interesting comment of one of the reasons why the Yankees collapsed in that series is that, John O'Rule, how do you pronounce his last name?
Olaru.
Olaru, yeah.
I think he was doing really well, and then he had an injury or something. He missed a game, and then the Yankees couldn't get that rhythm back going, or
Which is
whatever.
surprising. He would be
Yeah.
that player the Yankees would need in that lineup in order
Right.
to.
I mean, left-handed. I mean, I guess that's why we got Johnny Damon after somebody left-handed. But my thing with I always said so prior to 2004, I think ESPN has something like the rivalry of the century, Michigan, Ohio State. They had the Yankees and Boston, and I was one of those people that I was like, I don't think this is a rivalry. I think it's just a one, thing with the Yankees. I mean, this is really not a rivalry until 2004. All that changed. I got over it though. I'll be honest
Yeah,
with
the Red Sox were pretty mediocre in the '90s. That's why
Yeah.
it was kind of the Yankees had their dynasty, and the Red Sox were there.
Well,
They weren't bad, but they weren't like great either.
right, but
I
I
think-
think one would think like it would be like kind of like back then when they had the New York Giants, the baseball team, the Brooklyn Dodgers,
Oh, yeah.
the Yankees. I mean, you would think that
That was a
right, like the rivalry is what exactly? Is it you playing the Yankees? Is that the rivalry, or you competing against the Yankees, winning World Series the same way the Yankees does? I don't know. I just don't always thought that the Yankees Red Sox rivalry was overrated before 2004, and then 2004.
Oh God, yeah, it really heated up.
interesting.
And then
I think,
2005 and 6, it was like those games were incredible to watch, and they were like 4.5 to 5 hours because both the Yankees and Red Sox were really patient hitters.
Yeah, especially
So they would draw a
2006
lot of
when
walks. Yeah.
the Boston Massacre series happened in Fenway, when the Yankees swept,
Yeah,
what was it, 4 games or 5 games in that
It was
series?
5 games. Yeah, they crushed the Red Sox.
Yeah.
It was a massacre. That's what got the Yankees into the playoffs, honestly.
Right.
And the Red Sox kind of fell apart.
I think it's in terms of the rivalry, I think it has to do with like, I mean, because certainly like you can look at periods in our lifetime and be like, well, the Sox were mediocre during this time, or the Yankees hadn't won a pennant in 15 years, or like whatever you're gonna say. But I think it's like more of a it's a living rivalry, but I think it's like also just a historical
Yeah.
rivalry that goes back before any of us were here. And I don't think that you can have whatever view you want of the rivalry, but I'm not sure that you can, there is a certain conjoining that Red Sox and Yankees kind of have with each other. And I will say, and look, I'm the only girl on this panel, so I'm probably going to be a little like sentimental and just like more.
I'm in New York. I'm a girl too. Hey, I'm in New York.
But what I will say is like, one thing that I to me anyway is neither one of those teams would be nearly as special without the existence of the other one.
Okay.
And I think that, and again, I'm girling out on you. I'm giving you a very feminine perspective.
No, I mean, I like that how you think about it. Okay.
But I know like for me, I watch baseball like very emotionally, and I definitely felt like, especially back in like 2003, 4, 5, you could not talk about one team without talking about the other one. And because I felt like the only other team that I had as much exposure to outside of the Red Sox were the Yankees. So if suddenly like I heard there was like a Yankee player that was injured or something, like I had an emotional reaction to that. If God forbid something had suddenly happened to like Posada or Jeter, I would have like really had a strong reaction, even though when we get on the field, right, I hate those guys, but I
Yeah.
don't. You know what I mean? Of course I
Yeah.
don't. So yeah, that's my like total
Yeah,
female
I had
girl.
I had a kind of like oh shit moment when I heard when it was announced that Garrett Cole had elbow inflammation. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it usually
Of
means Tommy
course.
John, but
Yeah.
but
Thankfully,
luckily,
it's not Tommy
yeah,
John.
it's not. But
Thankfully.
Well, I mean, it goes back to what you're saying, Karen. And I'm with you because even to this day, when I'm drinking my little, little Stone Cold, little whiskey, whatever, I
mhm.
go to the YouTube and I still enjoy the send off that Boston did to Mariano, and then what the Yankees did to David Ortiz.
Uh-huh.
And I guess
And
as
what Boston did
fans,
too there.
right, we got
Well,
together and say, you know what? Let's just put our signs on the, we hey, David Ortiz, he's the Yankee killer. That's our real daddy right there. You know what I mean? But just the fact that I could understand
Yeah.
where you're coming from.
oh,
I could
Yeah.
also understand that New York, Boston, Philadelphia, all these cities on the East Coast have a little historical thing going on there. So I could understand that. I'm with you
Yeah,
on that one.
Yeah.
totally. I mean, my God, I remember the moment that I can say like I totally fell in love with Rivera was after 2004 when I think that next year they were each other's home opener, I think. And
No.
when they were at Fenway and they were introducing the Yankee players, so we hadn't seen them since
yeah,
04.
they were like cheering
They
Rivera. Or
introduced
something.
Yeah.
Mariano Rivera and Fenway erupted, and Mariano's reaction
Yeah, he laughed
was
about
so
Yeah.
gracious, and
Yeah.
he got it.
He
And I was
laughed and he's
like,
like he tipped his cap.
this is an amazing man. This is
Didn't
a
they do
brilliant
the same
player
thing?
and an amazing man.
Didn't they do
Yeah.
the same thing in 2013 when it was his last game at Fenway? Didn't they do the same thing?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. They gave him a send off, a nice send off.
Yeah, they gave
Yeah,
him a nice send off, which is like, oh wow, I
I
mean,
think they did it for Jeter too when he
Yeah,
retired.
yeah.
And they totally should have. Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
mhm.
The core four was retiring, and it's like, okay, well, my childhood is ending.
Right.
That's what it felt like. I grew up in the '90s during that dynasty year, so it was like I got kind of spoiled because oh, we won every year, we should win every year.
Mhm.
You know, I had that because I grew up in that core four dynasty era, and
Especially that 98 season.
oh god, yeah, they were the best team in baseball, and
Well, I
that
call him
line,
the core 4.1. 4.1. You plug in any extra player,
yeah,
and they're not, because even Bernie,
and
I mean, even though he's not part because he came before the core four, but even
yeah, he did.
Bernie, Gerald Williams, you could, add those people to the core four, but,
Paul
Posada,
O'Neill,
Pettit, right,
Paul
Paul
O'Neill.
O'Neill, Wade Boggs,
Tino
go
Martinez.
on and on.
Yeah, that
Oh,
was
Well,
they
actually,
built.
Tino wasn't with them in '96, I believe, but he's still. I think he first
No,
joined them in '98. I believe.
97. He was traded to the Yankees after.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah, it was
Who's that?
97 because
I think his first year was '98. I think.
Who's that?
I thought it was.
Tino Martinez. You were talking
yeah. Oh, that's a good one. No, 98. 98.
Yeah.
Well,
think
that's
he
the
was
way he
90
had the thing with San Diego. He had a tremendous. He had
The
that
Grand
thing,
Slam.
right.
And then that was after the pitch that wasn't called a strike.
Oh yeah,
That's a good
that was a strike. I have to
Yeah.
say that was a good pitch,
Yeah.
and it
But I
wasn't
think
called.
he's still winning the World Series regardless. I mean, it would.
Oh yeah, they were still winning, but that gave the San Diego Padres fans some like, yeah, we would have won if that pitch would have been called a
Maybe
strike.
he would have won the game.
Right. It would have been one
It
game.
was
out
game
of-
one. You know? I think the Yankees only lost one game in that playoff run in '98.
Yeah.
They only lost 2. That's when
Oh,
they,
so
They lost.
Was it? Yeah, because that was that game with Knobloch.
They were tied with the Indians, or back then the Indians.
Yeah, they had that
Oh,
situation with
yeah.
what's his name? Blockhead?
No.
Chuck Knobloch?
Knobloch.
Chuck Knobloch, yeah.
Knobloch forgot how to throw to second base. That was his issue. Like literally, he could not throw to second base for whatever reason. He got the yips
During the 2018, when they brought the '98 team for the 28 for the celebration.
20th
Did
anniversary.
you see how Chuck Knobloch looked? Did you see?
Oh
how
yeah, he was
I
He
was
gained a
like,
lot of weight, obviously.
what
Yeah.
happened to him?
Yeah.
But I think he was. I think they were investigating him for something crazy.
Yeah, I think I heard something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
he
forgot.
he got into some trouble.
So we Yankee fans. So now that we have Karen, is there any love? I mean, do we have people that we enjoy as a Red Sox player? Like I know I like David
um,
Ortiz.
yeah, I learned to respect and like him towards the end of his career. But in 2004, I was like, he's the only one that figured out how to hit Mariano Rivera. Nobody can hit it. Even after, he's the only one that could figure it out. And it was so like maddening, you know. It was
Manny
like,
Ramirez didn't hit home runs off of
Who?
Rivera. Or...
I think I mean, I think that Ortiz maybe had the most. Yeah, I think Manny did, but I mean, again, like there's most players are going to struggle against someone like Rivera because he's a brilliant pitcher, you know. So
Yeah.
like
the
David
ones who,
Ortiz figuring out hit
or
Mariano Rivera. That's
yeah,
a lot of the reason why they came back and won that series.
but do not forget in that infamous game in Game 4, it was Bill Miller that got a hit off Rivera.
Well, before that, it was the steal by
It
Dave
was that.
Roberts.
I mean,
By Dave Roberts, who's a
Yeah.
hated manager in Los Angeles today. Most Dodgers fans hate him.
Yeah.
Mookie.
Mhm.
They won 111 games in 2022, and then they only win one in the postseason.
It was Dave Roberts is like maligned as a manager. Most
Well, that goes
average
back
They
to
got
Dodgers
what-
swept
fans.
a year later against the D-backs.
That goes back to like example. I guess I was going to bring this up, and when it comes to the AL East, it goes back to like the Dodgers. Sometimes I like to look at patterns.
Mhm.
Baltimore is one of those teams that tend to have like this one good season, great plays, and they tend to dwindle.
Yeah.
Toronto, it's always that team. They got a good team. They got a good team. They got a good team. The
They're
season starts.
disappointing.
Right. Tampa
Every year,
Bay.
nearly.
Tampa Bay seems to me like in the last 10 years, like the most consistent AL East team.
They are the
You
most
know?
consistent.
And then the Yankees is like, yeah, like always expectation with Boston. Yeah. Somewhere down the line after the All-Star break, early September, they call it quits. And that's the thing about these Yankee players
Mhm.
and Boston players versus Tampa Bay players is that they quit. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying that they don't play baseball anymore. I'm just saying, I don't know. It's just something about that.
Not giving it all, you know.
Right.
That frustrates me.
I think that Tampa Bay, and I think this has to do with the fact that they don't have nearly as much money as the other teams we were talking about.
Yeah.
And for that reason, they tend to have young players or players that you can tell they're going to be a star, and the minute their contract's up, they're not going to renew. They're going to go to Toronto or LA or New York or Boston or something.
Yeah.
So I think that
Yeah.
the other teams you mentioned tend to have older players, more seasoned players. Tampa Bay is, they have no fear and they're young. And that type of sort of
They can develop talent too.
Right.
and they tend to just
show it in
grow.
the postseason though. Usually,
Their energy sustains them longer. They're younger.
If the ownership would spend a little bit of money, they probably would have won a couple championships because they've been good for years. It's just that they don't have that one or two veterans.
They took a hit though when they lost Wander Franco. That's been a hit for them.
Wow, that's wow.
God.
I don't even think I want to touch that topic.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
I don't know how much we can talk about that here.
No, but that's
Sorry,
gonna be
was I
interesting. That's
being, like,
Yeah.
problematic.
that something's gonna be interesting. But it tells you, look, if they manage to put off a first place without Franco, their farm system it's one of the best.
They
they'll
always
replace
replace
Franco.
someone. They always seem to find someone. You know,
They extended Franco for the first time ever. They spent money on Franco.
Yeah.
And look what he does. It's like, doing, and it'll probably like scare off ownership from spending money anymore because.
Andrew, and then I want to go back. I mean, you keep saying the owners, which I agree. That, if baseball is the one sport where owners tend to not spend and just put that in their pocket versus the other sport.
Yeah,
Like that's
be-
my take.
the
But the
NFL has a hard cap, so they can't really
right,
spend past the cap. The NBA has like a soft cap, but they
yeah, they
spend.
right. It's similar there. But my thing with Tampa Bay, unfortunately, they don't draw. I mean, 15,000 unless the Yankees come in, Boston come in, then they'll draw the 30,000. But they don't draw that. And Tampa is not a baseball town
Well,
for me at least.
part of the issue is the fact that Tropicana Field is so out of the way.
It's such
Yeah,
Oh
a
yeah, St.
terrible,
Petersburg, right?
but it's a
Yeah,
terrible
St.
park.
Petersburg. Yeah, it's so out of the way that
There,
It's the most
That makes sense.
unnatural looking facility for baseball you could ever imagine.
I hate when the balls get stuck or they
oh,
hit.
I hate
It's
that state.
just
It's awful.
imagine
Thankfully,
that
their
being
new
your park.
stadium looks promising. I like how
Yeah,
they're.
Yeah,
I would
they
agree.
finally building a new stadium. Seems like there's a proposal at least, but
But the sad thing about Tampa Bay is that I mean, and Dee was saying it. It's like no matter the quality that they are putting on the field, and no matter how much they're winning, no one shows up to see them. I mean,
Especially
how
in the postseason. When last
how
postseason,
they couldn't sell out in the
Yeah.
postseason.
how damn demoralizing is that?
which
You
is
know,
which is crazy because even 2019, they had a great season in 2019. Not many fans show up in the regular season, but then they got a lot of people to show up in the postseason that year, and it was great. A lot of people showed.
Yeah.
May not have been full, but still a lot
But-
showed
but
up.
Part of the reason is the stadium is awful, and the second
Right.
reason
Terrible.
it's so far out of the way. There's nowhere near highways. It's like in the middle of nowhere in Tampa,
Yeah.
St. Petersburg.
Like a little island. But that's the thing.
Yeah.
What I find the irony in terms of Tampa Bay, and Florida Marlins too. They don't get that much fans, but my understanding is that the reason they bought these teams because of the spring, training and then you think that you will have a baseball crowd. It's nice and warm, but Florida for me is not a baseball place. I think
No.
Florida is definitely football. That's for sure. Miami
Yeah,
Dolphins.
but
Hockey.
I mean, I think outside of Fort Myers,
the Tampa Bay area is full of Yankee fans because
Right,
they
right.
have the spring training games there in Tampa.
Well, Georgetown Brenner, right? Wasn't he
Yeah.
born there or something like that? Or
Yeah, he moved the facility to Tampa, so they built that whole stadium there, that complex in
that's why I call it the
96.
baby Yankees.
It
Yeah.
would be interesting in GTA 6 whether they have the Marlins looking stadium or the Rays stadium.
Oh, the Grand Theft Auto 6. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean they have pretty accurate representation of the towns they feature.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean the Braves are, they're going to be good this year again. My suspicion.
Yeah.
I don't know where they're going to finish without Wander Franco, but
I don't
they're
think
gonna
I'd
be a
be
good
worried
team.
about that. I think they can find someone to replace him.
Yeah, I'm sure they can. They churn out superstar players like
Yeah.
like a machine. Here's another one. Oh, here's another one.
Yeah.
And don't trade with the Rays. I mean, I don't trade with the Rays. They know when to trade their players. And then the teams that pick them up, they're terrible the next year or
I
mediocre.
remember, the 2020 series against the Rays, game 2, when they tried the Rays strategy of, pitching, having the pitcher pitch one inning and try to go the bullpen route, like the Rays did, and they got
The Yankees, I don't know what they're thinking with that. That's like a small market, cheap type
Yeah.
thing. We can't afford starters, so let's do an
Stop trying to
opener for an inning.
be like the Yankees. Be
It
like
worked.
the fucking
Yeah.
Yankees.
They're like, oh, let's do an opener. It's like that Braves had no choice. The ownership they don't want to spend money, so they have to become creative. Since it worked for the Rays, every other team in baseball tried the opener thing, and it's like, so
Didn't
ridiculous. I mean, that kind of died out. I don't see openers much anymore. It was like a fad for a couple of years where, since it worked for the Rays, I mean, all the other teams tried it, but I don't see it much anymore. At least,
Aaron, do
unless
you
I'm
think that's
missing.
going to happen a lot with the Sox rotation this year?
When it comes to the Sox rotation, the thing that I'm probably most upset about, and I'm probably out of step with other Sox fans, but I personally don't like that we have decided to make Whitlock a starter.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Because
terrible.
and look, I understand, I get it that every pitcher wants to be a starter. Nobody dreams of being like, yay, can't wait to be in the bullpen. Like I get it.
Yeah.
However, you cannot discount an incredible bullpen pitcher. And Whitlock in the bullpen is pretty much lights out. And I just feel like when we've seen him as a starter, it's not very reliable. When he's on, he's on. But I don't think that he is a pitcher that goes the distance. This is not a knock against him. I think he has a very special kind of role, and I think they're going to squander it. I think they're going to ruin him.
I mean, you saw what happened with Daniel Bard. When you remember what happened with Daniel Bard, right? When you don't know Daniel Bard?
Oh yes, Daniel Bard. Okay.
You saw what happened to him. He was dominant in the bullpen, and then he turned to a starter, and it fucked him up.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I think is going to happen. That's my fear about what might happen to Whitlock. But I understand they're like, oh, we don't have anybody else.
Well, that's why one of the best things that the Yankees ever did was with Mariano Rivera. He was a starter in the beginning, and they felt like, wait a minute, and he could be better because his pitching mechanics kind of suit him for like a 2 or 3 inning type of deal.
And then the setup man to what's his name?
John Wetland.
John Wetland.
Yeah.
Wetland was so in that 96 year, Wetland was so every time he would come out,
Rivera those two pitched, it was used.
Well,
Rivera had
you remember in Boston, what was his name? And he played for Oakland. Dennis Eckersley.
Yeah,
and then he was one of those that did the road thing. John Smoltz, I believe. Also,
yeah, he did. He was fantastic at both roles.
Right.
So was Eckersley.
I think Chris Taylor even started as a reliever. I think.
Mariano. I think his debut was with the Angels. I think he was a starter in the beginning.
Mariano debuted as a starter.
Yeah.
No, but I was just saying with Chris Sale. I think he first started as a reliever when he first came.
Yeah.
But sales mechanics, he got it as a starter.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll be there tomorrow night at 8. And so will D, I'm assuming, right? You'll be there tomorrow night? D will be there tomorrow night, and Greg should be too. But yeah, I mean, we'll see you. Thanks, Witchy. But yeah, I mean, Mariano was a starter. 95, I saw him for the first time, and he was okay. I mean, it wasn't nothing special.
He was still learning.
Who is that guy?
Yeah, and then by 96, it's like, where did he come from? I mean, I didn't see that.
I remember when I first saw Mariano, I thought he looked a little like Tiger Woods, a little bit.
There's some, yeah. I mean, I was surprised when the Yankees traded for Verdugo. I'm like, why they do business with Boston and then Verdugo? It shows, like I think D said, what a disastrous the Mookie Betts deal was. They got nothing for it.
And even the Yankees have Jeter Downs,
right? Yeah, the Yankees got him now in their system.
Yep.
So it's like, what did the Red Sox get?
That was the first move that Chaim Bloom made when he took over. That was the very first move. It's like, oh, you're going to trade your franchise player as your first move? Good luck with that.
Well, ownership ordered that because they didn't want to pay Mookie Betts, so Chaim Bloom had no choice. But he essentially got nothing for Mookie Betts.
That'd be like if the Yankees traded Aaron Judge. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that Boston moved Mookie Betts. I'm like, what? That's like a franchise player there, and you move him.
It was absolutely ridiculous. And I don't get over these things easily. Like, look. I'm still not over the fact that they traded Nomar. Okay, so I haven't even caught up to Mookie Betts yet.
Well, Nomar, but by that point was like the knee injury.
I would say the mistake was they didn't bring back Orlando Cabrera because Orlando Cabrera did well when he was.
They lucked out with him.
That was the mistake.
They really, really lucked out with him because after they got rid of Nomar, and look, I understand that Nomar had a lot of injury. Like, he was amazing in his time. He had a lot of injuries. And so I can kind of understand this from a very cold business perspective. Emotionally, it was like, I was just gutted from the inside out. But after that, they lucked out with Cabrera, right? We had 04. Oh my God. and then they just played eeny meeny miny mo with shortstops for like the next couple seasons. Like then they were just like, let's just have a revolving door of shortstops.
Yeah.
It was so weird.
They signed Trevor Story a couple years ago, and he's
Is he hurt? Where is he? I forgot about that.
No, Trevor's back.
Yeah, he's back, but can he stay healthy again?
I know.
I don't know. I mean, he got injured. So when he was signed, he got injured so quickly that it kind of felt like, well, we didn't really have him last year.
Well, he started, in the first like couple of few months.
Yeah,
he got hurt pretty quickly in the year.
He got hurt quickly. But he's back, which is good. I don't know.
I think anybody that comes from the Rockies, I would take them with a grain of salt. Whether it's Carlos Rondon, it's like because you already know that Colorado is a whole different story.
Trevor Story.
Yeah, he was.
Who's the other one? The Red Sox got
somebody
else from the Rockies. But yeah,
I mean, got LeMahieu, and he was unbelievable the first two seasons.
Well, yeah.
When the Yankees signed him that extension, I was excited. I was like, yeah, he's staying with the Yankees. Now
he hasn't been the same LeMahieu. It's like injuries are catching up to him and age, and it's just not. He hasn't been the same.
It makes me wonder how he did so well in the first two seasons.
Yeah, I wonder about that. I mean, it's like he's a gap to gap hitter. He was good. He won a batting title. Thinking,
it's funny because when the Yankees first signed him, I don't think it was going to be like a huge addition. He was going to be like a utility player or something.
Yeah, that was.
And then he turned out to be one of the best Yankees for the first two seasons. Like, how did that happen?
Because I guess he's one of those where, us Yankee fans, we paying attention to Aaron, Stanton, and we got this guy coming up every day, contributing. And once that Yankee fans started noticing, we got a guy named what's his name? They always say DJ LaHoo, you know what I mean? Once the Yankee fans started this guy is good. He's
Didn't they call him the Terminator or something like that?
The Terminator, some shit like that. Yeah, now he's not this. I mean, he was like a machine though. Le Machine. Gary Sanchez called him Le Machine.
But great player.
La Machine. That's
Gary Sanchez. I mean, bringing him up. Oh my god, he was. Where is he? Is he still playing with the Padres, or he's been all over the place?
I know last season. I don't know where he
but he fell off. 2016, 2017. He was probably the. I thought he would be where Aaron Judge is at.
Amazing season. 2019.
At the time, I thought Gary Sanchez was it. He was going to be the superstar, and Aaron Judge was too tall. Or he didn't do well in 2016. Yeah. Then it turns out that
the problem with Gary was his defense.
He was awful.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny because he kind of like reminded me a little bit like early Jorge Posada. That was his knock. That he was not calling good games, and I think what was his name? AJ Burnett was like, nah, I don't want him. As my catcher, whatever.
Garrett Cole also hated pitching to Gary Sanchez. I mean, he wouldn't pitch to him either.
Right.
And that's why they made that trade with the Twins.
Yeah, that was not good.
Yeah,
for either side. Because
I was honestly looking forward to having Donaldson with the Yankees. I was interested, and in his first game, that walk-off single against the Red Sox, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be a great, guy with the Yankees." But
it was $50 million flushed down the toilet.
Yeah. That's my issue with Donaldson. I mean, Donaldson, he's one of those players. I mean, again, where he played in small market teams, Toronto, Minnesota.
Oh, but I mean, Toronto was a playoff player when he joined, and he was also in the playoffs with Oakland.
Right,
so he had a lot of experience. So
he won that MVP in 2015, and people were like, "Oh, he can get back to form." I'm like, "What? He's 8 years older. He's not get back to form."
Oh, I wasn't concerned about getting back to 2015. I just wondered if he could hit at least 20 or 25 home runs, 80 something.
Right.
Like that.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting. And
or 80 average, should I be okay?
He didn't come close to that.
Yeah.
He was done, and and Brian Cashman's like, "Oh, let's get him and get rid of Gio Urshela, who was fined." Yankees found him in the scrap heap, and
I know what a season he had in 2019. He came out of
Yeah,
nowhere.
yeah, he was a find, But to be fair to the Yankees, I mean, they got him for like nothing. And they just signed him, and oh, here he is. It's like he's a third baseman now.
Yeah,
Until Brian Cashman got the genius idea of trading for Donaldson. But
yeah. At
and
least we got
let me
Jose
not
Trip.
bring up let me not bring up Joey Gallo. He's another one who was just awful with the Yankees. Just awful. But he struck out 60% of his at bats. I
Yeah,
mean, he's a guy. He had deer in headlights from the Yankees. He
yeah.
was like he didn't. But I knew when I first saw him.
He
Like,
had
oh shit,
tax or whatever it was. He had
yeah,
yeah,
this is gonna be bad. I didn't know
yeah,
it'd be that bad, but I was like,
yeah.
yeah,
But
he's a
one of the most
power.
disgusting things I saw during the 2022 season, SNY, the Mets,
Yeah, the Mets own network.
they had an article of Gallo about him struggling. But the part that really was disgusting, as well as a lot of other Yankee fans saw, is that they had a picture of him, a tick. That's what's called tick. He had the look,
Yeah,
because he suffers ticks. They
he
had
had
him as
that.
the cover photo. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Don't use that as Gallo. Just use him. Just use a
That's
regular photo of him. Don't use it. That that's
that's
rude.
yeah, that was not cool.
Yeah,
But yeah, he was just terrible. He didn't belong here, and
no.
you could tell in his like first few games, like, this is gonna be bad
I
because
even
he was like
remember
he
before
seemed
the Yankees
lost.
traded. I even before the Yankees trade for him. A-Rod wasn't really for it. He didn't want the Yankees to trade for Gallo, and
Well, he was right.
yeah,
I mean, I thought, okay, power hitter, left-handed bat.
yeah.
The problem with the Yankees for years before that, they had no left-handed hitting.
Hmm.
So they got Rizzo, they got Gallo. Rizzo was good. Gallo
Yeah.
was a disaster. It was like,
It looked like, and before Yankees got Rizzo, it looked like maybe Boston was going to get him back. But
Yeah, I was like with
oh, I
him.
forgot Rizzo was in the Red Sox. That's
I
right.
felt like Rizzo. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't feeling like emotionally driven to have
yeah.
him. It would have been okay.
Mhm.
However, I do, because we ended up getting Schwarber,
Yeah.
and
Schwarber,
then of
yes.
course we let him go.
Mhm.
Um,
Well, but you also had a Bobby Dahl back.
and I like Bobby a lot. He's got potential, and he sort of ends up kind of going up and down
Yeah.
to AAA. But no, I mean he's got potential. But Schwarber ended up being so great and was so good as a teammate. He seemed to really love playing here. And then they're like, yeah, that's okay. Go to Philly.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
didn't even try to
and
keep him.
Ryan Moon said he doesn't regret
Right.
not bringing him back. Or
I'm like, dude, he was one of the. He was. If you would have brought him back, nobody would have had a problem with it.
He
Even
was
though he,
awesome.
I would have
even
hated
though,
as a Yankee fan. He was
yeah,
back
I
with
mean,
Oh
he
yeah.
went to Philly. He went to Philly.
He
Oh,
went
thank
to
God,
Philly,
he's in
and
Right.
Philadelphia.
Right.
he's been lighting it up
Yeah.
in Philly.
Yeah.
He's
Okay.
a
What a
hitter.
great player. I
That's the
mean, what a
thing.
great story. Remember, what was it? He was with the Cubs and he got
Mhm.
Yeah,
hurt and he still managed to come back the
Yeah.
same season and make that magical run. I mean,
Yeah.
he's one of those left-handed that unique. With Gallo and my situation with Gallo is like, ugh,
Mhm.
eh.
But it was kind of funny because before the Yankees traded for Rizzo, Karen, I believe you know the Twitter guy Jared Carabas,
Oh yeah. Mhm.
yeah,
hmm
he posted a pic of Rizzo with the Red Sox uniform. It's like he's going to come back to the Red Sox, and then whoop, he's going to the Yankees.
No, I
I
mean at this point, anytime there's a rumor about the Sox getting someone, I just take that as a guarantee that it's not happening.
Yeah.
yeah
So Rizzo
because
was with the Red Sox, and I guess Theo Espin kind of picked him
Yeah,
up with the
Theo
Cubs.
Epstein. Yeah, well, yeah, I think started with
he
at least
drafted
in the
him.
minors. I don't remember if he started with the majors, the Yankees, but then
He had a history with the Red Sox, so it was
yeah, he had a
basically
history.
he's going to
And then he was with
return.
the Padres.
He was a Red Sox
He,
fan, I
in
think.
fact,
Rizzo.
wait, Karen, he was traded for the Padres for Adrian Gonzalez, right? If I'm correct.
I don't want
Wow,
to.
Adrian Gonzalez. Wow.
Yeah,
Oh
get
yeah,
into like
God.
that. I think that sounds right.
Yeah. Yeah, but then of course the Padres, and then the Cubs, and now the Yankees.
And then I mean, I guess it's history if they won a World Series. I guess. That's what
But
it is.
speaking of the Cubs, I can't believe the downfall of Javi Baez. Like,
Wow.
what has happened?
I could have seen that coming
Yeah, me
because
too.
he doesn't draw walks.
Right.
Yeah, he just
So
swings at pitches that aren't even close.
yeah,
Like,
he doesn't draw walks. Javi Baez. I
if
could have
you
seen
want
that
to
coming.
strike out,
If you look at his on base percentage, even with the Cubs, you could have seen that coming. He's barely at 300.
Yeah.
So eventually, the league's gonna figure him out. It's like, okay,
I think he
just
finished-
don't even throw strikes. You know, just
I think he
he'll
finished
swing
second
anything.
in the NL MVP in 2018, I believe, behind
Yeah, he
He
did.
was up there.
But
He was up there.
but the league figured him out. It's like,
Yeah,
oh, he'll pitch swing at anything. Don't throw strikes. Just throw just throw it near the plate and he'll swing. Which
Yeah,
is
I
what's
mean,
been
he
happening.
looks like a his own. Like he looks so different in the Tigers.
now that contract with the Tigers is looking
Yeah, and
That's
then you know,
atrocious.
and then I always say, you know, it's funny how economics work because even in 2009, I mean, in this country that we were dealing with the whatever they call back then the economy thing, and I'm like, yo,
economy, yeah.
Crash.
right,
Yeah.
and baseball
The
is weird.
crash.
Right, the crash, because in that time we had the Yankee Stadium that was built in
They
2000.
built the new stadium.
Right, it was like 1.5 bill. When it
They
comes to
spent a
Detroit, it's like, you know, we hear Detroit, you know, 80% is like ghetto and all that, but they just managed to splurge.
on that ballpark.
You know, I'm right on baseball with its hobby.
America is a beautiful park, but
Yeah.
it's a pitcher's park.
Right.
Yeah.
Even today, even with the
I
when they
like
shorten
George
the
Stadium
fences.
because it's like a mix of the pitchers and a hitter's park. It's like the best of both worlds.
Like I'm shocked any hitter goes to the Tigers because that's
Yeah.
a pitcher's park.
Right.
I mean, that is brutal.
Well, that's
why
why they all leave.
Yeah.
Justin and all that they leave.
Yeah. And Javi Baez signed there. I'm like, there must have been the money, but he's gonna suck there, and that's exactly what happened because he doesn't draw
Yeah.
walks. Like if you swing at anything, they're not gonna give you anything to hit, and he's still swinging at everything. So it's like
Yeah.
that
He
was
even
a
got
waste of money.
benched. I think it was either in a game in 2023 or 2022.
Yeah, I mean,
for
AJ
forgetting how many outs there were.
Oh, that's terrible. I mean,
Yeah.
he got his money and he said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna.
Right.
I don't have to play well." It's one of those attitudes, you know.
Yeah.
And then like Detroit is like a contenders. I mean, unfortunately.
Did-
You know.
Oh yeah. Karen, is Jansen still going to be the closer for the Sox?
They yeah, today there was an article that was talking about him working his way back because he had
The heartbeat.
stuff.
Yeah.
And so I guess there was a question about like, is he going to be ready for opening day? Is he not? So this article made it sound like it is likely. But you know, he's interesting because the way it looked to me was that his first half last year, thought he was really spectacular. Something like happened to him. He had one game where it just he just it
Like
just
he had
like,
2 games against the Cardinals, I believe, where
there
he
was
just,
something where like he had like a series or a game or something where it was like, oh, you just don't have it today.
yeah.
Mhm.
And I felt like there was something about that just maybe got in his head, or so like it never fully. He never
I could.
found his stride from like
Mhm.
it ended up impacting him. Like it wasn't just an event. Like, okay, you had a bad series that happens
on.
to
Yeah.
absolutely everyone. It just lingered, and I don't know. It felt like it was kind of a.
Oh yeah.
I
RG
mean, we're
also,
talking about Kenley Jansen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
thank you.
So I think that's kind of similar to what happened with the Dodgers. I mean, you know,
Is
he had a
it?
great right, like something
Yeah,
with him where they'll bring up these closers. Something about him. I always thought that he was great.
Well,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
great
No,
But
he is.
when he's on. Yeah.
But
Mhm.
something happened.
Yeah.
Like, but I think it's meant. Like, it looked like it was a mental thing, which honestly, to me, is a harder fix than a physical thing.
Yeah. But also, I know a lot of Red Sox fans have been, they're confused about this move. What are your thoughts on the Red Sox getting Liam Hendricks?
Mm,
Eh,
I
I mean,
Bleh.
if you could give
I,
some,
I
some
don't.
inning, yeah.
I'm like, I don't know that I have a.
What is it? Inning eater? That's pretty much what he
Well,
is.
he was a close.
Eighth inning, yeah. I mean, he
Well,
was a
look,
close.
Yeah.
He had
like I said,
cancer.
they
Yeah.
need pitchers,
Yeah.
and I think
Starting.
they'll kind of take pitchers any way they can get them right now. And if you look at their starting rotation, that's all right-handed pitchers.
Yeah.
There are
Yeah.
no lefties in that rotation.
Yeah.
So
No, that's a problem. Yeah.
Yeah, and especially when like, the Yankees
not
come to Fenway,
ideal.
I think it's. I don't think it's going to be pretty.
The Yankees have been talking to Jordan Montgomery. We'll see where
Yeah,
that goes.
possibly,
But
possibly become-
Are you still a free agent?
yeah,
Get him in here, man.
Blake Snell signed with the Giants finally,
Yeah.
which was
Yeah.
like
But that's a lot of. That's why my concern with Blake was that he wanted a lot of money. I don't think
The
that he's
Yankees
worth
tried.
the
The Yankees tried to get him. You know,
they offered 6 years, 160. He turned it down
Oh,
and signed for
hell
like
no.
3 years, 60 million. So he lost
Right.
100 million.
Yeah,
Was it 3
Because-
years or 2 years?
2 years.
I think it's 2
In
years,
first
60.
one.
I mean, that's 30 mil a year.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the Yankees offered 6 and
I
160.
think he also has an
Right.
option after the first year.
Yeah, he can opt out, but
Yeah,
yeah, I'm like
he just
Scott
better
Boras.
hope. He just better hope Bob Melvin doesn't take him out of a playoff or World Series game. You know,
Scott Scott
like,
Boras says not the same. He destroyed a lot of.
yeah, Michael Case said Scott Boras underestimated the market. You know.
Yeah, he did. I mean, that was awful.
And
I mean,
it feels like, it
Clay
feels like
Bellinger.
Scott, it feels like Scott is like everybody's agent. Like
Yeah.
he's seriously every player's
He
agent.
usually
Even
he usually
if I
gets
was
the
a
most
player,
money.
I wouldn't care about money. I don't want Boras as my agent. I would just want someone who just, I want to be the Yankee throughout my career, no matter what the money is. I think
Boras
wanna see
represents Juan Soto too, which is worrisome
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
He
that
does.
means that he's going to go to free agency. It's going to be March, and he's next year. He still hasn't signed.
Isn't Judge's agent Boras?
No, I think somebody else represents Judge. I forget who right now, but
And there's also
it's not Boras.
with free agency, I was reading something. I may not have this totally correct. So if you know, please tell me if
PSI
I'm
Sports
off base.
Management.
But apparently if they go to free agency and I didn't know this, and there's multiple offers, it's something about the union rules. They can't take a lower offer if they'd rather be in the city with the lower offer. They have to take the highest offer. So
I don't know about that. I mean, that's
I mean,
Huh. Are we talking about baseball?
mm-hmm.
Because football might have something like a matching offer, and if they don't
I
match,
read something like that, but I cannot remember where I read it, so I may have totally inaccurate information. But let me see.
okay. But yeah, I mean,
damn unions.
the Yankees. I don't know. The Yankees don't have a closer. I mean, unless you're going with Clay Holmes to start the year. I mean, they don't have a closer, or at least somebody reliable back there. So that's my worry too. There's no closer back there, unless you're going to trust Clay Holmes to start the year.
I mean, yeah, I would have liked them to got another reliever. I agree, but I'm just saying that's who they have. He's their closer.
So they're gonna see because they took him out of that role because he kind of struggled. But
yeah, he did once he started getting
season, but then he came back to form later on. So
yeah, so hopefully he stays in form and is able to.
He had back-to-back great seasons. He may have not been the most dominant reliever, but he's had ERAs both under 3. So
I mean, I'll take that. Yeah, if he does that this year and he's a closer, yeah. But
that was one of the best traits, though. From
yeah, to be fair, that was a good one. But
everybody was like, "Oh my God, how the Yankees?" I don't remember who the Yankees gave up from the Pirates, but like, "Oh my God, how could you trade him?" Well, now you're angry.
Well, Clay Holmes was just a throw-in. I don't think he even was the main piece.
But thanks to Matt Blake, he
turned him into what he was because Clay Holmes was like a guy. I didn't know much about him.
Rothschild was still the pitching coach. Right?
Nah,
it would have been trash.
Matt Blake is a fantastic hire. I mean,
Yeah,
he's turned
absolutely.
pitchers into great. Yeah, well, I do. We do have to get on our final thoughts. It's almost 9, so I would love to keep going, but I really can't. So, any final thoughts from you guys? I mean,
Well, I
I have
mean,
you.
I guess we could kind of say, besides the Yankees or let's say Red Sox is going to win the World Series,
Mhm.
who's the
Our
pick? I
pre-
mean,
our predictions for the Yankees and Red Sox, where they
no,
fall their
outside.
record.
Well, outside of that, I know the Yankees will win, but outside of that, I say
I think
probably
the
the
Dodgers
Dodgers
are
and the
probably the
Braves.
favorites, at least on
Yeah,
paper.
Yeah, I mean,
I think the Dodgers or the Braves.
yeah, they're
Braves.
the two best on paper, the two best teams in baseball.
And
But
Yeah,
I even have to include the Rangers as defending champions. I mean, I
well,
don't know
I
yeah,
how
always
I do
we
that.
can't forget about
Astros,
them with
Astros.
Bruce.
What I
Bruce
hope
Bochy
for
is their
this year
manager.
is that I didn't watch many Yankee games last year, especially after they had the injury and the Yankees just fell apart. I
Oh,
didn't
they
watch
fell apart
games.
last year. I mean, it
Now
was
I
like,
hope I'm watching a lot more games this year as they're winning, and I
oh,
just
they fell apart. It was brutal to watch the Yankees, especially in the summer.
yeah.
It's like how am I keep watching this team, and it's an embarrassment. I mean, the lineups they put out there.
To that Dodgers wall. Yeah.
So the Dodgers, as long as Davey Roberts is the manager, I don't know how they're going to win a championship. They won one during the pandemic, but
Yeah, yeah.
they
Right.
barely won one.
There's an asterisk.
That
Yeah,
was an LA thing. I think the pandemic gave LA kind of like hey,
And the Lakers won that year too.
right.
yeah, yeah.
Nobody's
In the bubble.
watching, because we still dealing with a pandemic. Here's a championship, you know.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's so where do we think the Yankees and Red Sox gonna lie? What are their records? I'd be
Well, I think at least in terms of their matchups, how it's going to end. I think the Yankees will win this season series against them. I don't know if it'll be close or it'll be beyond it, but I think the Yankees will come up on top at least in
on
terms
paper the Yankees are better, but
yeah.
we got to play the games.
It's
You know,
just
that's the most
and the
important.
pitchers too.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, did you guys watch that? They just had a spring training. I mean, I know it's just spring training, but they had a spring training matchup. I think it was last weekend.
Yeah, that was the
Um,
game the Sox won. Is that right? Is that the game you're talking about?
hmm?
Is that the one the Sox won? Is that the game?
Yeah, the one where it was like 12-2. Like it was
I don't
pretty.
remember.
It all
Yeah, it
kind of
was.
happened in the first inning. It was very strange.
Yeah,
So look, I don't know. Yeah, I can totally understand the Yankees are better on paper. Obviously, we have to be loyal to our tribe, so I am
Yeah.
going to say the Sox are going to win the season series.
Yeah.
And as far as the World Series, honestly, I don't think either the Sox or Yankees are going to be in the World Series. I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, cool. I will admit to that. But I don't know if I have a prediction. I would like to see it be a team that hasn't won in like the last 15 years. That would be kind of cool. Give it to, I
That's
don't
been happening a lot lately.
yeah.
yeah, like
With the
some,
Rangers winning last year, they haven't
Right.
won in like
Yeah.
ever.
Right.
so that was
The
Yeah,
Nationals
that was
won.
very cool.
We'll be
That's
back.
been happening a lot lately in baseball,
Yeah.
which is good. I
And that's
mean,
cool. That'd be awesome. But yeah, I think my only other final thought would be just for baseball in general. I really think we need to bring back, and it's not that it was ever banned, it just doesn't really happen because I think the culture has shifted away from it, and I think it's a mistake. We really need to bring back bench clearing brawls. It's good for the game, it's good for society.
Yeah,
That
it
needs to come
happens.
back.
It
You
doesn't
know
happen
what's the funny
enough.
thing about that, Kevin? So it seems that basketball might have been doing that lately because in ESPN, once a week,
Oh yeah,
go to ESPN.com, the web, and then they've been doing, oh, somebody gets smacked because either I could think that they trying to be like, okay, Draymond Green, that player that has issues over there in Golden State, he's the
yeah,
only bad boy we have. Now everybody, but at the end of the day, I could see what you're saying. That kind of build rivalries. I remember
yeah,
that
and it
dog, like
builds. It builds
Yankees,
camaraderie among teammates.
Yeah,
Yankees
You
and
know, you have my
Orioles.
back. Okay, now we.
there's something about it that is just very necessary for like the good of the nation. So
Like you
I mean,
remember that 2018
I think
brawl?
I'm with you.
Uh huh.
As long as they don't
smash,
hit the guys in the head.
smash the
Yeah.
pitch clock and bring back the bench
Jose-
clearing brawl. This is
No,
my
Maybe that
You
was
know what they
strawberry.
did
Rube
get
did
rid of the runner on second base rule.
in the extra innings.
Oh.
I hate that too.
the zombie runner shit. Like what? Stop it.
But
Yeah.
Rougned Odor knocking out Jose Bautista was like that was awesome.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
he
I don't know
literally
if that was
caught
that
him.
one or the one with J Ram and the and Tim
Oh,
Anderson
and Tim Anderson.
Yeah, that was
Right.
last season. Yeah, when he knocked Tim Anderson out.
Okay,
with a
Jeff.
phantom punch. He's like, but I
Yeah,
think
but-
that that's funny because
And now he's with the Marlins.
Uh-huh.
right. Yeah,
Mhm.
no, and I'm with you because I think when it comes to sport, because of the social media, right? We go on Twitter. Let's say Angel is playing with the Yankees. I'm with the Red Sox. Angel hits four hits against the Red Sox. I'm playing with him. I do the X Twitter thing. Oh, what a great game, yo, Angel! You deserve the whatever. Give me the rivalries. Give me something like, you know what, Angel?
Yeah.
You hit 4 hits. You know what? I'm gonna smack the shit out of your next pitcher with 5 hits. Something. Give me
Yeah.
something.
But that doesn't really have. It's the culture change, I think.
Right.
Gen
is,
Zers
and
are not as
it's like-
violent
it's
or
like
not
the-
violent,
Yeah,
but
it's like this forced like. It's the forced
politeness.
kindness. It's the forced
Yeah.
politeness. It's the
Mhm.
sometimes you need. Look, I think the more aggression we have in sports, the more peace we have in the nation. I really think we need bench clearing brawls.
Oh yeah,
That's
You know,
Yeah.
and Sox and Yankees are king. Like those two teams could brawl. Like they're great. They're amazing.
yeah.
Nah.
I'm not
But-
saying fight to the death. No one's doing that. The guys on the field are not doing that.
Yeah.
But it's just it's a healthy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I really hope sometime in the future, there are no longer home plate umpires, and we have some sort of electronic
Well,
strike zone.
No,
Well,
no,
in
no,
that
no,
thought-
no, no, no.
In that thought, they're bringing in the computer strike zone.
Well, but
Like in the
I-
minors
I-
already, you're seeing it.
What
You're
about
seeing
what
it-
about wait, what about don't what ain't that I believe there's a league. Don't they have like an empire behind the pitcher?
I don't
Or
know.
something. I think the empire would look better if he's behind the pitcher than
Well, I'm just
behind
sick of
home
home
plate.
plate umpires calling obvious balls that are strikes or obvious strikes.
But that's part of the game. That is part of what makes the game human.
But what
That's
if you
part
know?
of it.
But
But what if it impacts something that if it ruins,
Yeah,
Again,
Unless you're Angel Hernandez.
there
Oh,
is
God, you don't
the
want him
human
behind the plate.
error element in the game is crucial.
you know, if Angel Hernandez behind the plate, somebody's getting thrown out
okay, well,
because
if they're going to keep umpires, they should, in my opinion, I don't know how you feel, they should do replays, not for every strikes or balls, but if it's strike 3 or if it's ball 4.
in the minors, it's either
Yeah.
the minors or college baseball. They're kind of like having a computer strike
Yeah.
zone, and
That's
a
what I-
hitter can challenge one pitch at bat.
Yeah, or just if it's strike 3 or if it's ball 4. That's you don't have to do it for every pitch. Just if
Yeah,
it's
then
strike
you can't do it for every pitch, or else the hitter
Yeah.
will challenge you. You
If
know,
they
it's
could
like-
do that, I think that I would.
yeah, that'll work. That's like a medium, happy medium that I don't mind, but
Yeah,
but yeah, we have to go. So I love this conversation. I mean, if I can go another 2 hours, I would, but I
Yeah.
can't. Maybe we'll come back. Maybe do it once a month, and
Maybe
preview
next
each month.
During the season, we could
Yeah.
do like a baseball show.
We
once
could
a
come back
month.
once a month with where the Yankees and Red Sox are, what are our thoughts, and etc.
Yeah.
What's happening in MLB?
or we could
Yeah.
discuss other sports besides baseball.
Yeah, I mean, we could come back with that for sure. But for now, we do have to go. I want to thank everybody for coming on. I
Thanks
want
for
to thank
having me,
people for
guys.
watching. Oh, no problem. We're
Absolutely.
happy to
Enjoyed
have you
everybody
on.
here. Nice to meet you,
And-
folks.
Nice
Yeah.
to meet you guys.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
would. That's awesome. And I'll see you guys next week for another episode, Angel in the Afternoon. So see you guys next week.
Good
Have a
night,
nice
guys.
weekend.
Thank